Hello there, in this video we're going to review a product to learn Dutch. And which product is it? Well, it's the book Contact. You can see it here. So Contact is the name of a series. So there's number 1, there's number 2, and there it is, number 2, and then there's even number 3, and it will take you from the absolute beginner's level, A1, to the intermediate advanced level, B2. So there are 3 books there. First of all, when you're buying the first Contact, so that's Contact 1, not surprisingly, you're going to have a textbook. That's a textbook. You're going to have a list of words. So the list of words will translate all the words you learn from Dutch to English. That's the list of words. And there's also the workbook. That's the workbook, which includes plenty of exercises. And there's also MP3s, both in the textbook and for the workbook. So you can download them for free on the website and listen to the exercises and the dialogues and the text, etc., etc. So the book has 12 chapters. So the first book has 12 chapters, and at the end of each chapter there are some grammar points for you to review. And well, the grammar points and the content that you see is aligned with the workbook, so it's very easy to have a lot of exercises through the both of those books. And these transcripts of the MP3s that you can download are also in both books at the end. Now, about the book, the first thing you'll notice when you open the book for absolute beginners is that it's completely in Dutch. And it's like, whoa, I'm an absolute beginner. Hey, well, how can I find this translations, and how can I learn? So that's first remark. You'll have to have a good dictionary when you're reading the first sentences, or you need a good teacher to help you out with that. Second, the content of this book is really, it's a lot. There are 330 pages for the first book, which is really a lot to digest. So you'll learn plenty of Dutch with those books. And very important, the books are of high quality. So you can clearly see there's a designer that worked on making the book look good. And the quality of the paper is also good. There's a lot of colors, there's pictures, there's everything. So yeah, it's a high quality book, which reveals for whom these books are made. These books are made for highly educated professionals. That's the target group of this book. So let's go to the advantages of buying this book. First of all, as I said, the content is top notch. There are plenty of dialogues, plenty of exercises to do. Second, it's a professional book, so well, it's high quality. You can be sure that the content is of high quality. There are also very few mistakes in the book, as I've used the book before, so I know, well, typos, etc. Then there aren't many typos, if there are any, in the book. It's made by experts, so that's why. It's also a good book to use if you want to get a certificate like the NT2. It's a good choice. So that's one of these certificates you can get when you're applying for an exam. These books are made also for people that want to pass these exams. And another good point is that it's made by experts who wish to have this book used in classes. So if you're using this book in your class, if your teacher uses this book, well, you will get a lot of homework and you will be able to review the main points. It's really ideal for group classes. So some of my students like this book, but some of my students, well, don't really like this book. And I'm also a little bit hesitant as a Dutch teacher to use this book. So let's take a look at the disadvantages. The disadvantage, the first and the most important disadvantage, is that it's too much. If you're an absolute beginner and you don't have too much time to learn Dutch, you get a lot of content in the beginning and you have to really look at the dictionary to translate all the sentences and, well, to review the exercises. Maybe it went a bit too fast in the language class and you have to review it and it takes you a lot of time. So that can be demotivating. And sometimes the content is even a little bit too early or a bit irrelevant at the level of the book. One example is in the third chapter, zin hebben om te, that means feeling like, and well, every time I see it and I explain this to my student, they're like, well, is this important at my level? So yeah, but that's a bit of a personal taste. So for individual classes with people who prefer to see bit by bit and not everything at once, it might not be the best choice. So that's the first disadvantage. The second disadvantage is that the book costs a lot. So last time I checked, it was 80 euros for the first contact and the workbook together. You have to buy them separately. So that's quite a high price. But of course, you get a very professional book for that price. So yeah, I think it is worth the price. But of course, some people don't want to spend 80 euros just for a book. Well, 3 books actually, and some MP3s. So yeah, if that's an issue for you, then it might be an issue. You can also try to look for second-hand books on other websites like Amazon or eBay or other websites, or maybe people you know who don't use their book anymore. You can try to take it for free if you can. All right, and then the third disadvantage, and well, that's also a bit a matter of taste. The Dutch from the MP3s is the Dutch from the Netherlands, so it's with the Dutch accent. And yes, the Belgian and the Flemish accent, the Belgian and the Dutch accent are, well, different, but we understand each other. But if you're learning Dutch to use in Belgium, keep that in mind when you're listening to those MP3s. So overall, if you don't mind getting a lot of information at first, and if the price is not an issue for you, well, I would highly recommend using this book to learn Dutch. Especially if you already have some knowledge, it's good to have all the information you already had to be able to review it at first. There's a lot of content. It's very professional. It's a very professional book, so I would highly recommend it. Did you already buy Contact, or did you buy another book, and how did you like those books? Feel free to write it in the comments. And if you want to buy the book, feel free to click on the link to buy it. You will get to the page where you can buy Contact 1. All right, tot ziens.